I'm not family.
No. Your cargo.
The Last of Us is the highly anticipated television adaptation of the critically acclaimed video game of the same name. Starring Pedro Pascal as Joel and Bella Ramsey as Ellie, the HBO series combines the writing talents of Craig Mazin, who you may know from Chernobyl, and the original game creator Neil Druckmann to create a post-apocalyptic drama where the action takes a backseat, putting character front and center. It's a game that I've loved since the very beginning. Both games I absolutely adore and are my two favorite games of all time. I've played them so many times, big fan of them both. And so this show has been so high on my hype list for as long as it's been rumored. Back when it was rumored to be a movie a few years ago, and now it's surreal that it's finally here. The original game follows Joel, who is tasked to transport orphan Ellie across the country. The two embark on an emotional journey, letting go of the losses of their pasts and finding light in each other, all whilst fighting off hordes of infected, which are basically fungus zombies. It's a little bit different in the TV show than the game, but it's all fungus zombies all the same. Fans of the game, myself included, were understandably hesitant to see such a tight story expanded upon into 9 episodes. It's a tale of friendship and loss, one that if successful, will now be more accessible to our non-gamer family and friends. Having seen the first episode, we can all collectively share a sigh of relief. Hello, my name is Aidan Green. This is my YouTube channel where I talk about films and TV shows and The Last of Us and all that lovely stuff. If you like this video and you like this kind of thing, hit subscribe, hit the like to help out the algorithm. It's very windy here today, so sorry if my audio, I think it's going to pick it up a little bit. It is so windy here in Perth, Western Australia. I'm not going to be spoiling anything just yet. I will talk about a couple of spoiler things a bit later in the review, but for now, if you haven't seen the episode, remain calm. It is okay. Let's talk about it. When you're lost in the darkness, the show's premiere episode perfectly adapts the opening of the video game, expanding on moments and characters in a way that aligns with the world that we know and love. Pascal's Joel feels real and raw, telling stories of suffering simply through a singular glance. Whilst being introduced later in the episode, Bella Ramsey's Ellie encompasses the smart and strong fighter at the heart of the show's source material. Trust me when I say that when you hear her say motherfucker for the first time, you will understand that Bella Ramsey is perfect for the role. She's so good, she can do a great swear. We see familiar themes beginning to develop with loss at the forefront. In a world where everyone has lost so much, our attachment to Joel carries us through the episode as we witness his own tragic losses and the long-lasting effect that they have on him. As well as co-writing, Craig Mazin directs the episode, something that is fairly rare for him. Despite this, he does a tremendous job. The dilapidated world of The Last of Us is captured beautifully, with some of the best production design ever seen on TV. Sets are decayed and overgrown, costumes are dirty and desperate. This is a world falling apart, one where even shoelaces are hard to come by. There is a constant tension throughout the episode, as though anything could happen at any moment. This is amplified by reliance on handheld camera that never feels too much. Supporting this is a tense score, one which will at times sound familiar to fans of the game. Gustavo Santaolalla and David Fleming combine their efforts to create a score that reflects the episode's most gripping and emotional moments. All of this combines together to make one of the best pilot episodes of all time. Never before today have I cried 30 minutes into the first episode of a TV show, and I mean, like, I was a hot mess. I don't know how I'm going to survive the next 8 weeks. I'm going to be locking myself in a room on Mondays, having a cry, because Last of Us does that to me. I'm sorry. So clearly, the Last of Us TV show is doing so much right. As mentioned, the show creatively steps away from its source material from time to time, something which I was apprehensive about. After all, less is often more. However, the Mazin-Druckmann writing duo prove that they know exactly what they are doing. The additional scenes add depth to an already rich world. They build up characters in a way which games cannot, using the alternate medium of TV to its advantage. So after years of raving about this story to PlayStation-less loved ones and friends, I can finally show them a version of the story that is true and real and as raw and authentic as the original game. The Last of Us has never been more accessible, and I'm so happy about this. The next 8 weeks, they're going to be rough. So I'm just going to talk about a couple of more spoilery things now. So if you haven't seen the episode, click away. I just want to talk about a few scenes that I just think were really well done and deserve a bit of a shout out. So you got 3 seconds to step away, otherwise you're gonna get The Last of Us spoiled for you. And nobody wants that. Okay, 3, a 2, a 1. As with the game, there's a scene at the start of the episode where Joel and Tommy and Sarah are in a car, they're driving around, and you feel kind of helpless in the car, and the TV show so well replicates that feeling. You know, a lot of it you feel like almost a fourth passenger in the car. You're desperately panning around from shot to shot. Everything's shot pretty much from within the car in that scene, so you feel claustrophobic, you feel tight, and you kind of feel like you're in Sarah's shoes at that point where you can't see what's happening. You know, it's you, all you get glimpses of are what you see out of the window. And as you drive past things are fleeting. It's just a quick shot of them driving past people. So you empathize with Sarah here. You're stuck in the car. The grown-ups are doing all the talking. They're saying things that you don't really know the full context of. And that, I think, is really powerful. Also, big shout out to Sarah in this. You really are in Sarah's shoes early in the episode. It's great. I had this moment early in the episode, right, where the game starts with Sarah and she's on the couch and she's giving Joel, her dad, a birthday present, right? And the episode starts a bit different. It starts the day before that, or just earlier on in that day. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. I'll see where it's going. And then the moment she sits down on the couch, she's got the watch ready to go. And then Joel walks in. I was Leonardo DiCaprio in that meme, you know, where he's like clicking at the TV. And I was like, here we go. Whenever like there's a scene that is exactly how it played out in the game, it is just that meme over and over again. You're like, that's that scene, the scene I love so much. It's great. And it's also worth saying that Joel and Sarah's dynamic in the TV show so perfectly replicates what they do in the game. And you get so much more of it than you get in the game, which makes the scene where Sarah dies all that more tragic.
You come on. You come on. I know, baby. No, I know. Tommy, help me!
Like I said, I bawled about 30 minutes into that episode. If you've seen the episode, you'll know that that's about the time that Sarah dies. And it is so emotional. Even just Tommy's kind of blank reaction. I think he just says Joel. And you know, Joel is cradling Sarah in his arms. It is so emotional. I cannot. Oh, that was. Let's not take Aidan back there because I will start crying again. Something that is handled different in the TV show than it is in the game is the whole Robert situation. One of the first sort of action scenes you get once you do the time jump 20 years later in the game is Joel fighting Robert. And Joel and Tess are going around and trying to kill all Robert's men and stuff like that. The TV show really simplifies that down. Part of me was like, oh, we do miss a big chunk of that early story there, but really, you really don't, because what's important is you want to get to Ellie. You want to get there kind of as fast as you want. So they cut out a bit of the running around shooty game side of things and just stick with the drama, which as a TV show with the drama at the forefront, I think it really pays off both pacing wise and, you know, how many times do you want to see them shooting up people? I can imagine that the first time in the TV show that we get into a big skirmish, it's going to be huge. Getting rid of these early ones and the skirmishes that don't really matter, I think are really important to making the skirmishes that do matter really stand out. And also, like I said, the show expands upon a lot of the things that the game just couldn't. So we get to meet the neighbors, Joel and Sarah's neighbors, which is great. It builds Sarah's character a lot more doing that. And it also makes it a bit more interesting once the neighbors begin to turn. We see one of the Fedra guards developed a bit more, who turns out to be one of the guards later on that Joel has to kill. And that scene where Joel is, beating the absolute heck out of that guard, that is so impactful because, this is someone that he's known, he's had a few dealings with, and then the fact that the rage, the inner loss from within him has just come out at this moment, and now he's beating this guard, but it's the guard that he knows. It makes that stuff more emotional. Building up these side characters that are merely there for a few scenes, it makes it a much more emotional journey. How good was that scene, by the way, with him beating the guard and the lightning's going and it's tense, and then Tessa finds that Ellie's infected. It is, woo! Man, this episode was insane. And we also see a bit more of Ellie prior to her being dispatched with Joel. So in those scenes, you, one, get a bit more of an introduction to Ellie, and two, you get to see a bit more of Marlene and Ellie's relationship, which is something that maybe was lacking a little bit in the game. It never felt like it's lacking, but now that you get to see it in the TV show, it's really cool. It's cool to see what their dynamic was like a bit more before Ellie was shipped off with Joel as a little bit of cargo. There's also a difference in the disease. You don't have spores anymore. You have, I think, little tentacle thingies that come out of their mouths. I'm still mixed, just because I love the spores in the game very much, but Hey, I think it's worked really well so far. I love the introduction scene to The Infected, I guess, when it's that scene in the 1960s and it's a talk show. I love that idea that it's something that's just been brewing in the background. It's been brewing for so long, and then all of a sudden, it's not in the background anymore. 40 years later, we've looked away from it for so long, and now, boom, it's taking over everything. You know, that applies to so many things in today's society. It adds a bit more of a commentary there. Obviously, you could say that about climate change. There's even a climate change reference into what caused this fungi infection. I think it was a really good decision. I do like it. So yeah, double thumbs up from Aidan for The Last of Us TV show. I'm so glad it's good. Like I said, like, subscribe, do all the things. I want to see you. I want to see you more and more as I make more and more of these things, okay? Thank you so much for watching and listening as always. And I'll see you in another video very soon. Maybe we'll be talking about episode 2 next week. We'll see. We'll see what's on the radar and if I've got much to say about episode 2. Thank you so much for watching, and whatever the next video is, I'll see you then. Goodbye.